So now I have to share. Okay.
Take away the captions.
No. So let me see. All right. Wait a minute. Lost it. Share screen. Okay. Can you see it now? Marie, can you see?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Then I can begin.
You can begin.
So I am continuing with this theme of finding joy through life's challenges, and this is part 3. So first is to just review what I talked about, because that's how you learn, by repeating. So divine principle. Our very purpose for life is joy. We're created for the sake of joy. We're meant to experience joy. And this is what the divine principle says. It says, joy arises when we have an object partner in which our internal nature and external form are reflected and developed. God wanted his creations to be object partners embodying goodness that he might take delight in them. When we fulfill the 3 blessings, we become God's object partners of love and return perfect joy to him. So the first blessing, both the mind and God rejoice as they experience their internal nature and external form through the stimulation which their object partners give them. The second blessing, the individual feels joy, and likewise God feels joy when each perceives in this family or community the manifestation of his own internal nature and external form. The third blessing, ideal human beings receive stimulation from the world of nature, sensing their own internal nature and external form displayed throughout the creation, they feel immense joy. So to find joy, we need object partners, whether it's our body responding to our mind, or whether it's we are object partners to God, or in relationships, human relationships, or relationships in nature. This is where we can experience joy. And most of all, joy comes from love, because our relationships are meant to be relationships of love. And as Father said, when you are living in the love of God, every cell in your body jumps for joy. This is how God means us to live, intoxicated in love and joy. And so I love singing, I love cycling, and I love acting. I don't know what you like to do, but these 3 things and many more things give me joy. Okay, so we use the words happiness and joy interchangeably, but actually there is a difference in the root meaning. And I think joy is a deeper word, but let's look at the word happiness first of all. So are you happy to have lots of money? Will that make you happy? Or maybe if you have a nice home or car, that you found the right life partner, that certain things in life can bring you happiness. So the root word is hap, and hap means luck or chance. So something that happens to me. So if I get lots of money and become rich, I become happy. And therefore, it's based on our external circumstances. So you could say that the root of happiness is really external things, the things which we can get. But we know that actually happiness, true happiness, is not from the things we get, but it's an internal state. So what is joy? The root word for joy is simcha, which means to rejoice. It's something that you do, something I choose to do. And this is based on an internal state. So our attitudes, the way we think, the way we feel, how we respond to the external circumstances is what brings us joy. But of course, we use happiness. I mean, we can say, well, I want long-term happiness, not just temporary or just because of my external circumstances. And the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, in their book, The Book of Joy, they talk about the obstacles to joy. And because they have lived a life with many obstacles, like all of us. And they've identified, at least in this book, they discuss stress, sadness, anxiety, fear, loneliness, and envy, and also frustration, anger, despair, illness, and grief. So all of these obstacles to joy happen in our life. We can't avoid them. Sooner or later, we're going to feel these. But it's how we respond determines if we can find joy through these difficulties. Now, the Dalai Lama, in the book, he talks about mental immunity. What is that? He says much of our unhappiness originates within our own mind and heart in how we react to events in our life. And he says mental immunity is the ability to observe negative thoughts without having an immediate emotional response to them. So just as a healthy immune system protects our body against potentially hazardous viruses and bacteria, mental immunity creates a healthy disposition of the mind so that it will be less susceptible to negative thoughts and feelings. If your health is strong, when viruses come, they will not make you sick. If your overall health is weak, even small viruses will be very dangerous for you. Similarly, if your mental health is sound, then when disturbances come, you will have some distress, but quickly recover. If your mental health is not good, then small disturbances, small problems will cause you much pain and suffering. You will have much fear and worry, much sadness and despair, and much anger and aggravation. So in this book, they discuss 8 pillars of joy, 8 ways in which you can deal with these difficulties in life. First, there are 4 qualities of mind: perspective, humility, humor, and acceptance. And 4 qualities of heart: forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, and generosity. Today, I'm going to look at the 4 qualities of mind. Last time, I discussed perspective, which I suppose is the root of how you look at life affects everything. And in this book, each one of these qualities leads to the next one. Based on your perspective, you can have humility. When you have humility, it leads to humor and also leads to acceptance. So I will look at these 4 today. First of all, perspective. The Dalai Lama says we have perceptions about our experience and we judge them. This is good, this is bad. Then we have responses: fear, frustration, anger. We realize that these are just different aspects of mind. They are not the actual reality. Look at any situation or problem from a larger perspective, from the front, back, left, right, top, and bottom. A larger perspective leads to serenity and calm. So this leads to a greater sense of humility, humor, and acceptance. So the Dalai Lama, he escaped from Tibet in 1962. That is that 38 years ago? It's 58 years ago. And so you could say, this was a terrible, terrible situation. Not just he as an individual had to escape, but so many people today live in exile and cannot live freely in China. But the Dalai Lama has found joy because he doesn't dwell upon this. He tries to look for the positive and to see how by living in another country, he learns to appreciate a different way of life. And so he has developed this mental immunity to see the positive through the perspective that he has. What about humility? The root word humus, not like the food you eat, it means earth or soil. So it's like, it's where things begin from the bottom. And a Chinese proverb says, be like the bamboo. The higher you grow, the deeper you bow. When we have a wider perspective, we have understanding of our place in life. This leads to humility and the recognition that we can't control everything. We need others. So some people think they are superior. Some people may think they're inferior. But actually, when we realize that we're all children of God, we don't have to feel better or worse than others. In fact, if you're arrogant, it suggests you have some insecurity about yourself and you have to kind of blow yourself up because you don't feel your value. And if you don't feel your value, you feel people are better than you, you're not actually realizing that all human beings are children of God. We're all the same. We just have different gifts. And then there's a Tibetan prayer which says, whenever I see someone, may I never feel superior. From the depth of my heart, may I be able to really appreciate the other person in front of me. This prayer is part of their meditative practices and mental training. So humility is very important. Recognizing our limitations can be very positive. If you realize that you are inadequate, then you develop effort. If you think everything is fine and I'm okay, just as I am, then you will not try to develop further. When the spring blossom comes, it starts down in the valleys first. Growth begins first in the low places. So similarly, if you remain humble, then there is the possibility to keep learning. So there's one story the Dalai Lama told where he attended some meeting of spiritual leaders. And one of the leaders, an Indian, he felt that his chair was should be a bit higher than others because he felt he was superior to the others. And so he asked that they could raise the legs by putting some bricks and so that he could be raised up. But what happened to him, the chair collapsed. And so he had to kind of humble himself. And so it's not good to look down upon others. We're all the same. And we can always learn from others. We can look up to others in the sense that they have maybe skills or qualities that we don't have. But if we're humble, we're open to learn from them. When we have humility, we can laugh at ourselves, especially our weaknesses, which is essential for creating joy. So humility leads to the quality of humor. And humor, the root word is the same as humility, the earth. And the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu, in their meetings, they laughed very much at each other. They laughed at themselves. And part of humor is actually not to take yourself too seriously. If we are spiritually minded people, we shouldn't be too serious. We have to kind of see our own weaknesses and laugh at them and not be afraid that others can laugh at us and we can laugh at them. When I was teaching, I had a lot of fun because I had a lot of laughter with children and I had a lot of laughter with teachers. And over the last year, at the staff room where we teachers met, every day there was something to laugh about. Every day somebody said something funny. So it really made my life, like my work life, so much better. So laughter. Do you laugh every day? We know that laughter can give us many benefits. So here's a selection of people, all different faces, all different ages. But God gave us the ability to laugh. And laugh brings joy. So what are the benefits of laughter? Well, first of all, there are physical health benefits. Laughter boosts your immunity. It lowers stress hormones. It decreases pain. It relaxes your muscles. And it prevents heart disease. But there are also mental health benefits. Laughter adds joy and zest to life. It eases anxiety and tension. It relieves stress. It improves mood. And it strengthens resilience. And also, there are social benefits. It strengthens relationships. It attracts others to us. It enhances teamwork. It helps diffuse conflict. And it promotes group bonding. So really, we should laugh a lot. How many times do you think you laugh every day? Or do you laugh every day? Well, adults laugh about 15 times per day, according to research. But kids, they laugh about 400 times per day. So maybe we should be humble to young people and learn from them, from their carefree spirit. We really need to see the humor in life. If you don't stop laughing because you don't stop laughing because you grow old. You grow older because you stop laughing. Maurice Chevalier. I don't know if you remember Maurice Chevalier. He was a French singer, entertainer, and actor, and he was always smiling. That was my memory of him. So he knew how to laugh. And then, if you can laugh for 1 minute, 1 minute of anger will weaken the immune system for. 1 minute of anger weakens the immune system for 4 to 5 hours. Interestingly, but 1 minute of laughter boosts the immune system for 24 hours. So I suppose next time you get angry, you need to quickly revert to laughing in order to strengthen your immune system. And 15 minutes of laughter equals the benefit of 2 hours of sleep. So this is all like research done about laughter. And the fourth quality of joy to develop is acceptance. Humor makes everything easier, including your ability to accept others and accept all that life will bring. Stress and anxiety come from our expectations of how life should be. When we are able to accept that life is how it is, not as we think it should be, we are able to ease our challenges with all its suffering, stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction, with greater ease, comfort, and happiness. Acceptance of reality is the only place from which change can begin. You accept the inevitable frustrations and hardships as part of life. The question is not, how do I escape it? The question is, how can we use this as something positive? So, of course, in Buddhism, they use meditative practice to give the ability to be in the present moment and to quiet the distracting thoughts and feelings that we can perceive reality, so that we can perceive reality and respond to it more skillfully. So it has a lot to do with living in the present moment, accepting our life as it is, and making the best of that. And then I would like to tell you a story that the Dalai Lama told about neighbors. You have good neighbors? Do you know who your neighbors are? Do you get on well with them? Are you a good neighbor? Well, he gives this story. He says, imagine that you are living next to a difficult neighbor. You can judge and criticize them. You can live in anxiety and despair that you will never have a good relationship with them. You can deny the problem or pretend that you do not have a difficult relationship with your neighbor. None of these is very helpful. Instead, you can accept that your relationship with your neighbor is difficult and that you would like to improve it. You may or may not succeed, but all you can do is try. You cannot control your neighbor, but you do have some control over your thoughts and feelings. Instead of anger, instead of hatred, instead of fear, you can cultivate compassion for them. You can cultivate kindness towards them. You can cultivate warm-heartedness towards them. This is the only chance to improve the relationship. In time, maybe they will become less difficult. Maybe not. This you cannot control, but you will have your peace of mind. You will be able to be joyful and happy when your neighbor becomes less difficult or not. And then Eckhart Tolle, he also says something about acceptance. The moment that judgment stops through acceptance of what is, you are free of your mind. You have made room for love, for joy, for peace. And acceptance is the final pillar of the mind, and it leads to the first pillar of the heart, forgiveness. When we accept the present, we can forgive and release the desire for a different past. So all of these 8 pillars of joy, as I said, one leads into the next. And so next time I will continue and to look at the qualities of the heart and begin with forgiveness, and then see how far I go with gratitude, compassion, and generosity. And with that, I'd like to finish. Thank you very much.